All right. Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 37. I'm Ian Scott.
And I'm Zach Huber.
And this is the podcast where we discuss all of the nerd topics in the past week and this week. And we got a few of them to go over with you guys this week.
We do. We got some...
Got our usual Ahsoka.
We got a usual Ahsoka. Got some Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Mm-hmm. I should know. I watch What We Do in the Shadows.
There you go.
Doing a Jabba the Hutt movie. Well, maybe was going to do one.
Yep.
What else? We have a Percy Jackson trailer.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new A24 trailer with Nicolas Cage called Dream Scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
We got the Marvels news.
Oh, yeah.
Is that it? It might be it.
That might be it.
If you find another surprise one in there, then we forgot a topic.
Yeah, that'll be a little fun surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little Easter egg.
Yeah.
But you can jump around to all of the topics that we talk about today. We'll have time codes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Also, thank you to Joe from Modern Studios.
Absolutely.
If you're listening, you can also book time just to record podcast audio here. But you also have a whole studio that you can use for videos.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I say we get started with some Ahsoka, episode 6.
Yeah. What did you think about this one?
Personally, maybe not as strong as last week's episode because last week's episode was so strong. But this was still another really good episode. Like, I really enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
Even though Ahsoka wasn't in it. Whatever.
Minor spoiler.
I mean, very minor spoiler.
That is actually one of the critiques I have.
Sure.
But that's more of an overall show sort of thing.
Sure. It's more of like Clone Wars / Rebels, like combined season, whatever you would call it. I don't even it's a new hybrid of the two, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily Ahsoka.
Is very strange.
Yeah.
But anyways, the episode.
But the episode I thought was really great. I think there was some really great. So I'm not going to do spoilers first. I think there's some really great dialogue. Really building on like the character's lore in there, and I think there's some really great reveals, and not like a ton of action or anything this episode. There's some,
but we don't need it.
We don't need it.
No.
And this episode just does so well off of a purely dialogue episode, and it's everything I really needed from it, except more of Ahsoka. But
if it wasn't called Ahsoka,
then I wouldn't have a problem.
I wouldn't really have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, minus maybe one thing, but
there's one thing I agree.
I'll get into it.
My thing is so minor. I'm not even like that pressed about it.
Mine's pretty minor too.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I do love this. I don't know.
I really like it.
I really liked it.
Uh-huh.
Really like this episode. Everything you said, I agree with. And I don't know how much to say about it without getting into spoilers, but yeah, the villains, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All of them.
The heroes that we do have in the episode, I did like what went on with on with them.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
I think it was there was some interesting cheesy things at the beginning to talk about.
I actually like that a lot.
But we'll get into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting. It definitely was expanding the lore. It's there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So why don't we go into spoilers?
I say let's get into it. I got a bunch of notes. But yeah, so the episode, this one starts off with kind of taking us to where Ahsoka just departed with the Purgles.
Yeah.
And her and Yang are having a talk, and just when we had that debate last week of did Ahsoka realize, she immediately confirms that she's like, yeah, Sabine went willingly. And Yang's like, yeah, it's the only choice she was ever gonna make. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, both are true. And
but it was interesting the way that I think it was him, or maybe it was Thrawn later in the episode, that was saying this one choice will kind of not control, or it's dependent upon the rest of what's going to happen in the future.
Sure.
Is this one thing to reunite with her friend?
That is crazy in itself if you think about it. Like, the First Order maybe rose because Sabine made this choice.
Yeah.
Like, it's all Sabine's fault technically.
Right.
So that is insane to make her that big of a, maybe not a villain, but like
not a villain,
like a martyr maybe, or what? I don't know what you would call it.
A martyr is when
it's like the opposite of that, right? So I don't know, but yeah, it's a very controversial move. But I think it's an exciting move. Yeah. And
at least it's a move that it elicits some, I don't know, reaction. I don't know. Like, no,
it's a polarizing choice. And I think that in itself is exciting.
Which I guess is, I don't want to say polarizing because there's a lot of polarizing decisions that were made in the sequel trilogy. But there's something about this being, I don't know. It's almost, it's like a tragic sort of thing where somebody did something, like it all works with the characters. I don't know. I don't want to get into the sequels, but I'm just saying it works. This particular thing just feels tragic, but it felt inevitable. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm looking. It makes narrative sense.
It's inevitable.
And now we have this very tragic thing happen because of a character's actions.
But yeah, so, then they start talking about what you consider cheesy, I think, is the history of the galaxy, or history of the universe, parts 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And I think, I don't remember who says it, but somebody's like, part 1 being the best, of course. I think it's Ahsoka.
Said that,
yeah. And I mean, obviously they're talking about the prequels. I mean, to me, that's a reference to the prequels. I don't know. I can't see it any other way.
Sure.
And I think Ahsoka saying that could be like Dave Filoni's words himself. Like I think maybe he believes episode 1 is the best. He's spoken very highly of that movie in the past and of the prequels. So, I think it's very neat. I don't know.
Look, if you like the prequels or that era of Star Wars, I don't have an issue.
I like them a lot.
I prefer Phantom Menace over Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones any day.
Sure. Yeah.
I hate that movie.
You hate that movie. I mean, it's definitely the worst of the prequels, for sure.
It's just, I'm glad that people feel that way now, because before it wasn't.
No. For a long time, it was episode 1 is.
And I just, the bug factory, I can't. I cannot deal with it. It's really,
there's some definitely some cartoony moments in that movie. It's so slow. It's a very slow movie.
It's also very slow. Yeah.
Until the end, which is pretty exciting. But
I just think having a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away being spoken.
It's so nice.
Is it?
He's telling a story. I don't know. It's just a nice. Come on.
It's a little too meta. That was part of I get it. Whatever.
He's telling a story about some galaxy in a far, far away place.
But we are supposed to be in that.
Maybe he's talking about us.
I don't want to have to be like, oh, well, I don't want to be Leonardo DiCaprio like, hey, no, I don't know. I don't need it. It seems a little self-serving.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, it's not that big of a deal.
Teach their own.
It's not that big of a deal. It's just, I don't know. I don't love it.
So, then we, I guess, kind of get to see, Sabine is locked up with Balon on his ship.
Yeah.
Thought it was great that they actually like locked up and like fully secured a prisoner. I feel like a lot of these situations, the hero or the villain is just like,
you're gonna walk around with us.
Yeah, you're gonna be with us, where you could, like mess up our plans at any point.
I love how all the for some reason all the prison cells in ships look very much like the same.
Yeah.
Like there's, I don't know.
That ship from the first season of Mandalorian. That was a prison ship. Yeah.
When they have
when they broke out Morgan Elsbeth too.
Same thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, It's season 2 of Mandalorian. I feel like Mando got at the last episode. I forget. Were they breaking somebody out?
Ooh, yeah,
from a prison.
I think.
And then he stole the saber from Moff Gideon, and they fought.
Yeah, they fought in the cell. I thought,
something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It also is the same exact kind of looking cell from Rebels.
Oh, is it?
So I don't know.
There's like one designer for cells in the whole universe. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so we get the reveal of the world that Grand Admiral Thrawn's been this whole time. Pretty kind of desolate, boring planet. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm okay with it. Whatever. But his palace I thought looked really good. Whatever that was. Here's the. I guess when they rode up, it was more of like where the Night Sisters were. It wasn't a palace, but
some sort of
it looked very neat.
Impregnation of a Star Destroyer, just right on
them.
the monolith.
Yeah,
just open up and just go down.
But I really love those Night Sisters. I thought they were really well designed, and they had this cool double speak, whispering thing, and they could tell the future because they had predicted all this stuff that would happen. And
except for Ahsoka coming back and Sabine.
Yeah. So I thought there was some really great writing there.
And I think the Star Destroyer showing up and going down was
so cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then you get his actual entrance where you have all these dirty and cracked stormtroopers. And they're all chanting Thrawn, and he just walking up slowly.
I don't know if they were chanting Thrawn.
They were.
I feel like that was they did a similar thing with the Boba Fett show, where
I don't know.
They would the theme song literally said Fett or Boba or something, and I feel like that's just I forget who does if Ludwig or somebody does the music for Ahsoka, but I feel like it was just a. Thrawn.
I mean,
and it was
I saw a lot of people talking about them chanting, but I mean,
they might have.
Yeah, it's possible it was a song. But I think it's a lot cooler if they're chanting his name. Honestly,
I agree because I was are we really gonna have the theme song of Thrawn? That's the one critique.
Oh, was there a theme song for Thrawn?
Well, if that's what that was.
Oh no, I don't think that's not.
But it sounded enough in time with the music.
Did it?
That I was is this the theme song for Thrawn? Is that where we're going? Because they did in Book of Boba Fett too,
right?
Where I'm just can we have a theme with a melody and not just be Thrawn
Fett? Yeah,
is that where we are? But
yeah, we also get to see his commander of his forces. This cool
reminded me of a Persian sort of
Roman Empire kind of. Yeah, it was so neat looking. I don't know how they would have constructed that helmet, but
what is the purpose?
Maybe
probably just to sell toys.
I think it's probably. But people were ooh, there's somebody under that mask, and I'm I don't know. Can we not do this again? We just got befuddled with that. What was that guy's name?
The Inquisitor.
Yeah, the Inquisitor guy.
Maroc or something.
Yeah,
and then we still had Captain Phasma, who was just oh, let's have a stormtrooper who's all in silver.
Right.
And not do anything ultimately with them.
They just giving cool designs to their commanders.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
At least this one talked a bit and,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, did he? I guess he did talk.
He did,
right to Sabine.
They had a couple scenes where he was talking to Sabine and to Thrawn.
But yeah, I thought so much of that that initial conversation was great. I specifically between him and Balon. I love that he immediately knew that was General Balon of the Clone Wars, and I was
oh yeah, I mean he's up on his history. He gets you see and later on he's I want a background.
Well, yeah, but that's what's so interesting is that I guess so I haven't seen any of Rebels, so I guess I was just misinformed or misassumed about Rebels, but the fact that he doesn't know anything about Ahsoka is very interesting. She had a lot of episodes in Rebels. Did they never meet?
I
mean, you didn't watch all of it either.
Fairly
so you might not
sure
know.
He would know something.
I mean, he didn't know who her master was.
Oh,
I mean, he asked that, and I was Wow, you don't know that?
Yeah. So what's interesting is like in the books, in the books, I feel like I've heard that like he was based off of, and now that's not him anymore.
Right.
Like they've
yeah.
But he and like Tarkin were like the only ones to like, and then at least I think Tarkin knew Anakin was like Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
I think Thrawn was like he kind of assumed.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a way I'm happy about that because like that was supposed to be like a huge secret that Anakin became Darth Vader, but it feels like we're getting like a lot more people like know. Like I don't know how Balon ever knew. I mean, maybe he just I don't know. I honestly don't know how he figured it out, but maybe he was just that smart to figure it out.
Maybe we'll find out. I mean, Anakin clearly knows him.
You think so?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, they could have easily been on a mission together.
Sure. Yeah. But I love the way Mads Mikkelsen is
Lars
Mikkelsen. I love how he plays Thrawn. I think he's
amazing. Amazing.
I mean, he's a fantastic villain in the show.
He's a fantastic villain in Sherlock. I mean, season 3 of Sherlock, he was amazing.
But he's fantastic on screen as Thrawn.
Sure, yeah.
Seems like he's not missed a beat.
Yeah.
And I love how instead of just rushing into things or just assuming things, there's a villain who's very methodical and does not leave room or tries very best to not leave room for error. We only need this amount of people.
He's so cold and calculating. Like what you're just talking about there, when Morgan Elsbeth was like, shouldn't you send more? And like he gave this long pause and I was like, oh, he's going to snap. But he was like, no, we don't need more than that. We've lost a lot of troops in these 15 years or whatever, how long it's been. And, primary objective is to escape. Yeah. Like he's so cold and calculating.
And he doesn't care if Balin and Shin.
Yeah, he's like, they're just mercenaries. Who cares? Yeah.
Honestly.
And the fact that he's cold and calculating, but he's also petty enough to be like, you know what? They don't need to die, but I'd like them to. It's like,
well, no, I don't think it was that. Because
no, not the mercenaries, like Sabine and Ezra.
Yes.
He's like,
of course.
He's like, I would like them to die, but if they don't, then that's fine. But I don't stranded here.
I don't think that's petty. I think he's obviously he's got some gripes.
It's personal, I think.
Somewhat,
that's what
but at least he could have killed her.
Sure. But he wanted to kill Ezra.
He wants to kill Ezra.
Right.
And I also think at the same time, like he's not inherently evil.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you did get them here for, you got me a way out. And it's the wait, it's
I
this
don't
way.
know. That's a play.
It's this way. No, but it's this way in the show too, where he's like, I'm not gonna be like evil to be evil. Like there is a bit of like fairness, I do feel like, with him.
Yeah, I guess in that instance, to me, it felt more like, this is like what I'm telling you to your face, but I'm going to trap you and kill you.
Yes, there was still a bit of that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
he didn't have to be unnecessarily cruel or.
I mean, I was surprised by how he handled it, but it was perfect, honestly. But yeah, and then we get Sabine riding off and trying to find Ezra, and then we get Balon and Shin following her.
Which the one critique I have about this episode, I don't need this like, no, I'm mad at you for leaving me.
That was my thing, Zach. I was like, this scene sucks.
I was like, are we really doing this scene that's been done a million times?
Like one, I didn't get the sense, obviously that they were that close. I mean, they just met, right? Two, like the mount, like she needs the mount more than him. Yeah. Like why is she like okay just walking the rest of the way? Like what are you thinking? I don't know. It just felt very goofy,
weird,
cartoony.
I was like, can we just move past this?
Yeah. But and then we get the reveal. Well, I mean, she fights some guys and it's a cool little fight. But
I liked it.
But I'm more of a fan of the characters we get to meet after that, which is the rock people. See, I love the little rock guys. They're so cool.
I really wasn't digging them at first.
You weren't? Oh,
but then the more that they had this kind of Jawa, Ewok sort of, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
We're just playing off old tropes with this again, which is fine.
I don't know. I mean,
but they did kind of have like as soon as they were like
the Ewoks
Ezra,
could fight,
Ezra Bridger, and like,
right.
but I mean, but
sure, I get you. I mean, there's a small, cute little creature that's
like
helping.
At least the Jawas. Right. I don't know. I don't want to be too like petty about this, but at least the Jawas were scavengers and would steal things, and like there was things going on with that.
Sure.
The Ewoks would, and maybe we'll find out that these like shell crab kind of creatures, of course you like them, you're a fucking crab, but like
inside joke.
Yeah. But like the Ewoks, like they fought, they had this, they kidnapped them. There was this was like, I stumbled across this creature, and they're just gonna show me this village.
Sure, it was very convenient. If for sure,
you know, like they're not doing anything at the moment.
No, they're just chilling.
So I was like, yeah, it's okay.
I feel you. But yeah, I really enjoy the other half of that with Shin and Balon. Like they had it was either one or two like kind of big conversations where, and this has happened throughout the show where Shin is very like inquisitive. She's just very like, she's very curious about, you know, Balon and like the old Jedi world. And you know, I don't know. I really enjoy seeing those kind of like master apprentice relationships.
It's nice to see again. It's more of than a relationship than Ahsoka has with Sabine.
For sure. I mean, Shin is like a dark person, but she acts like an apprentice when she's just around Balon.
She even has the little Padawan. Like
I didn't even notice that. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I like that.
For audio listeners, the little like ponytail thing that's on like the side of the head.
I was so bummed. I used to have long hair, and when I went to cut it, I was planning to like ask
no,
for like
you weren't.
I was like leave me a long piece so I can like braid this shit and be like a little Padawan for a day or two, and then I just forgot. So yeah. It's fine. I mean, I don't know. I think it's.
I mean, technically, you could keep cutting your hair and ask them, "Hey, just keep this. Let this one piece kind of like grow out."
I mean, that's what they're doing in Star Wars before the original trilogy. So, yeah.
Though people might think that you're Jewish or something.
It's fine. Whatever.
They're like, "Why?"
Star Wars fans will know.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Balon's just like, you know what? It almost feels like he doesn't say this, but it feels like he's like, you know what? We don't need like those people back there. You know, we don't even need to go find Sabine and Ezra. This place is calling to me. And like,
very interesting.
I was like, whoa, this is like I didn't expect that at all. I thought his plan was to go full Thrawn. But he's like, yeah, I think there's some real power here and I want to find it. And I was like, okay, you do you, man. I'm excited. You know, I'm excited to follow that thread. But, you know, their thread, I think, going into the next episode is they're teaming up with the bandits that Sabine attacked, and they're going to go find Sabine. But yeah, I think his overarching thread is going to be cool to follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, then at the end of the episode, we get Sabine going back to the little camp that they have, and Ezra's just kind of waiting right there, just posted up. It's a cool little pan to reveal Ezra.
It is so great. To see.
I think the actor looks really good. Honestly,
the actor acts so much like Ezra.
Oh, he acts like Ezra too. That's
I don't know,
great.
Like
I thought he looked a lot like Ezra.
Out of all the characters, minus maybe Hera or Thrawn, he is the most, I feel like, true to how. And I'm just so excited to see how they handled it. I mean, it's so cool to see Ezra like as an adult, just probably going to be a badass Jedi.
Yeah,
and I'm very excited.
That would be,
but she's and Sabine's withhold. How'd you find me?
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a huge confrontation between them next episode. I think Ezra's going to be Ezra's going to be so mad that like at the moment they can't even go home because like Sabine.
I'm so excited to go home.
Sabine just wanted to go. Yeah, she just wanted to go there to see Ezra. She didn't even have a plan to leave. So I don't know. Sabine is incredibly selfish, I think. I mean, probably deservedly so. I don't know exactly all what happened in Rebels, but you know, Ezra has a right to be mad at her, I think, and it'll be shown. But yeah, I think that's. Oh yeah, I mean, it ends on I think Thrawn asking, like, I want to know everything about Ahsoka, and then that's it. But
and the one critique, or the second critique, kind of being, why so little Ahsoka? Why also?
Yeah, why make her travel the entire episode to get here, and she didn't even get here at the end of the episode. So.
But like, why have this trend in a lot of the Star Wars shows where, well, I mean, but it's kind of happened in Mandalorian season 3 where Mando just took a back seat a lot of the time to like Bo-Katan, and then Boba Fett was gone for 2 episodes, and now we have Ahsoka being out of the narrative for many parts of the show. This whole episode, pretty much.
I think that's like the problem that's been happening is that like after Mandalorian season 2, I think they had these plans to build like this bigger universe in this time they were like telling these stories in. And so like Boba Fett then like had to act as like a show that combined, Mandalorian and even Ahsoka at one point. And then Boba, like the Mandalorian season 3 had to be this show that built the entire, the lore of the universe even more out and not really focus on the Mandalorian. And now they've mistitled maybe this season or this show as Ahsoka when it should be more about the greater story and not just about Ahsoka.
Because it's not.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, she's had a couple of really good episodes, but, can't say it's been an Ahsoka show.
No.
Yeah. But, even with that, I'm happy with the storytelling. Much more happy than I thought I would be at this point in the show. And we only have 2 episodes left. I mean, like, it feels like the show is just getting started and we have 2 episodes left. Like, I really hope there's a second season, like, soon, or the ending to this show is somehow conclusive in 2 episodes. I don't know how that's possible, but
yeah. No, I feel you, but I'm still excited. I'm still liking it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But yeah, I don't know if you want to, but I think this is a good spot to take a break.
Yeah.
And then
it's a great time.
Yeah. And then we can get back into it with some more Star Wars talk. Yeah.
All right.
We are back. And so we want to talk about some more Star Wars, just like last week. And
only one more topic.
Only one more topic. Yeah.
One more topic.
So basically, David Goyer, who wrote a lot of movies, I can think like Blade, like he wrote for the franchise. He wrote for the entire Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
And he wrote the Zack Snyder Superman stuff. So a lot of superhero experience. But he was apparently talking in an interview or in a live stream or something. And he was speaking about the movie that he wrote that Guillermo Del Toro was going to then direct. And basically, Guillermo Del Toro then commented on it as well and said, basically he hinted that it was going to be a movie that had the letters J and BB in it, which is, and he's talked about in the past. So people, figured out that he was talking about Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Which he's well known for having very creative, beautifully designed, creature designs, and it makes sense. Put 2 and 2 together, it would be a Jabba the Hutt. And it, from what I understand, it was a kind of like again, I hesitate to say Godfather, like mafia.
No, but it is
because they said the same thing. Oh, Boba Fett's gonna be like a Godfather.
No, but the Hutts like ruling Tatooine, like that would be truly a mafia show. Like it would be be a mob.
Until it's not.
I don't know if it's Guillermo del Toro and there's no studio interference, then I trust it. But this movie isn't happening. It's just, it's cool that this was going to happen at some point. I would have liked to have seen it.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't have?
No.
Because here's the thing. I think what we were shown in Boba Fett was a very small and maybe lame glimpse of the Hutts. And I wish they were better represented, I think. And I think it would be cool to maybe at least hear about like maybe their I don't know, maybe not their rise, but maybe their struggles after Jabba the Hutt died. I don't know. I think it'd be neat to see.
Maybe 2 or 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm just tired of having to do shows and movies about characters we already have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, let's just new stories, new characters, new time periods. I don't need to see the legacy, the dynasty of the Hutts in live action. I really don't. Second of all, do I trust Guillermo Del Toro to make something pretty good?
Yeah.
But also, how do you make, and maybe he can do it, but how do you make a story regarding these slug people who don't speak in the in common English, language?
Uh-huh.
I mean, unless it's very unless it's like and it's all like, take care of this, won't you?
Right, they have subtitles.
Yeah, it could be cool. I agree.
Right.
But I don't need it. The same thing, I don't need the Lando movie necessarily. I just want to move past a lot of all of this.
I agree with you in a way that I could be truly happy with nothing else ever to come out with Star Wars. Truly, I could be okay with that. I mean, and because I feel like in a way having so many spinoffs can dilute the strength of the original material.
Yeah. I mean, just look at my love for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It's just slowly gone down with every movie.
With every movie.
Well,
since Temple of Doom, I guess.
No, since Last Crusade.
I'm just saying if Temple of Doom is your favorite, right? No, it's not your favorite?
No, I mean,
okay.
It's probably between Raiders or Last Crusade. I like Temple of Doom. Okay. I appreciate it more than I think other people do.
Yeah, you do. I mean, here's the thing. I can appreciate some things about that movie, but I'm not going to go into it.
Right.
Yeah, Star Wars. But yeah, I don't know. I think he was, he had a quote. He said, he previously wanted to make a Godfather style film about the rise of Jabba the Hutt. Oh, okay. So it would have been about Jabba the Hutt. Yeah. and he's quoted saying, it's the character that looks the most like me. And I love the idea of a Hutt type mafia. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So he has a soft spot for that character.
I just think that's a character that's cool. There's this boss that is this really huge, sluggish creature.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked in Return of the Jedi, and it worked as a reference character with Han.
But as a main character,
but as a main character,
yeah.
I think maybe this movie isn't happening because there's nobody's really asking Jabba. That's it's
I mean, it would probably be called the Hutts, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, but it's come on.
Yeah.
That just sounds like an SNL
What
spoof.
if it was just called Hutt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hutts. A Star Wars
story. It sounds like I'm a little more bummed that this isn't happening than you.
I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
That it's not happening.
Maybe so.
If you want to make a Godfather style story in the Star Wars universe, but just don't make it the Hutts, cool. I'm down.
So you're just not down for a Hutt story.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Don't.
We've been in the 70s for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
Part of the reason why I like the stuff with Ahsoka and Mandalorian is we are adjacent to the original trilogy. We're moving past it.
But you still see the remnants of that technology and the style.
But we get new characters.
Sure.
And you could say but at least characters from Rebels are still somewhat new. And I think they're great characters.
But I feel
just continue that. Do stuff with Jedi Fallen Order with Cal Kestis, and then or go we're going back in time to the beginning of the Force, which we both talked about. We don't know if that's necessarily the right move,
but I feel like setting something in the original trilogy is that's still exciting for me because I'm very hype about the Star Wars Outlaws game. And that's set in between episode 5 and 6.
Yes. Just do it in some other part of the galaxy that is unrelated to main characters.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I feel you. I don't disagree with most of what you're saying, but
you don't agree?
I don't disagree. Sorry, but I
you can't say you agree just because you're not wrong.
But yeah, I would just say I'm bummed that Guillermo Del Toro doesn't get to make anything in the Star Wars universe,
and I'm bummed that he can't make a lot of the movies he wants to make.
Yeah. But yeah, next topic here is non-Star Wars for all you non-Star Wars fans. Kind of a more serious topic. Basically, George R.R. Martin and a lot of other writers are suing OpenAI over basically the OpenAI, I guess, software or whatever you want to call it, has, like, the way it's been built is that they have fed the AI like real like stories and like books from actual authors, so that it learns how to write and how to make a story, right? But I mean, their argument against that, like the author's argument against that is like, anyone could then like write one of our stories and publish it, and it basically you can do it for an insanely cheaper price than what we're doing. So it's taking away our jobs. And I'm like, you're not wrong. Your favorite saying.
Your favorite saying, not mine.
I'm being obviously sarcastic, but I guess for me, I have a weird look at this, because like I think it's cool that we would be able to, like, you and I could be like, oh man, what if this happened in this book, and we could be like, we could just feed that prompt to an AI and it would be like, okay, yeah, let me write something up. But like, and I guess my thought with that too is that I don't feel like the AI is strong enough to write a full book, and I don't feel like anyone is going to buy a sequel to a book that the author didn't write themselves. I guess I don't see this as like that huge of a I guess job stealing like opportunity. But I do get their fears. I mean, everyone's got their fears with AI and taking their jobs, and it makes sense.
I do not feel that way. I feel like they should be suing, because there's a couple things. This is a plagiaristic kind of machine.
Sure.
Like it is taking things from authors, from creators, and it is just spitting back out its collection of these things. It is not any original work.
Sure.
Also, this is with look, if you want to have an algorithm, to have an AI that you can well, what if it was written like George R.R. Martin and this happened,
right?
If you this is without asking them if it's okay to use their work.
Sure.
So similarly, in music, which I don't think I've talked to you about, it is up for Grammy nominations this year, or it's eligible at least. But there's this song made by this artist named Ghostwriter, who is like faceless, and he's made a song that sounds like if Drake and The Weeknd made a song, and it's blown up, and it sounds like very much like Drake. A little different about The Weeknd, but it is literally up for it is eligible for a Grammy. And it's like, how do those artists feel about that? Like,
so was AI involved?
Yes, it was all AI generated.
Then how can it be? I mean, how could the Grammys look at that and say?
Because they were saying that like the president of the Grammys was saying, well, this is like a new and interesting thing, and you just have to think about how it can be monetized. And bro,
I mean, if you think about it at all, like if that guy sat down and thought at all, he would be like, he'd realize, no, like I can't give this Grammy to anyone because this person doesn't exist. Like
you would give it to the ghostwriter who programmed, like,
sure,
who typed it into the AI to
I guess that's insane.
But I think what their fear is, like, this is a preventative that, like, if they don't sue, this these people, this AI can still keep taking from all these different authors.
Yeah.
And it'll learn to a certain point. Like, it may not seem like it now, but you have to think like 5 to 10 years down the road, how well is this machine going to be?
Sure, no, yeah. But right now it can't do it. But I think, yeah, sure, 5-10 years down the road, it easily could.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that the
it just seems unethical.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I don't disagree with any of that. That like this, they shouldn't have taken all their work without their permission. Yeah, I mean, and it could get very real later down the line. So yeah, I mean, yes, my point of view is clearly from a point of like a fan of any of these works.
Sure.
That would just want to play around with it. And maybe the fear isn't that like someone could put out a sequel to one of their books, but that, you know, the market could get filled with books written by AI, and real writers wouldn't have the space, or, you know, people wouldn't hear about their works ever because they're drowned out by the other AI writers. So yeah, I get it. I really do.
And I mean, think about if you just are like, I want a book written by that was like this and like this and like this, does it
right
all by itself. You're also, this is just like a personal thing. You're completely getting rid of using your brain or
Sure.
any kind of artistic expression.
Right.
Anything
hey,
real.
Maybe
you're
if
just
you,
like, if you keep
right.
letting this happen, like there's good things about AI, but there's also, just like any technology, and there's really bad things and degradation of art forms, and also how people just like, you just get lazy. It's like, oh,
Sure.
I just, you know.
Right. If you're that strong, if you feel that strongly about wanting to see a story and how it plays out, then maybe pick up a pencil and start writing, you know, maybe become a writer. I don't know. But yeah, so I think we're both on the same page with this at this point.
Yeah.
We gotta fully support these writers and even the writers on the writer strike. Hopefully they come to a deal, and
I guess they're
negotiating.
This is the third day in a row.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like things are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm holding out hope. But yeah, I think that's all we had to say, right? So yeah, now we're gonna discuss a couple of trailers that we I think like a lot. At least the first one I'm gonna discuss here with you is Dream Scenario.
Okay.
Because that looks incredible.
Does look incredible.
Yeah, so the trailer came out. I was a little worried at first because I was like, this looks like a faux kind of biopic. Looks kind of light. And I'm just like, okay, this will be like a little goofy fun time. But then like the trailer progressed, and like and
I'm wondering what part it was.
Well, it was the tone shift. It was the tone shift to, this isn't a fun time for me. This is horrifying, and his life has turned into a nightmare. I guess we should preface the plot of this. I guess is that it stars Nicolas Cage, and basically
A24.
He starts appearing in everyone's dreams around the world, and he becomes this instant celebrity overnight.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically at first it seems like it's
like a harmless little,
it's a
like,
fun little,
this is kind of like fun.
Right. All his friends are talking about it, and everyone
he
meets
having dreams about me?
I love that line. But yeah, so yeah, it seems like a little harmless fun movie. And then it gets real, where like his wife is embarrassed to like leave the house, it seems like, with him, and like, you know, he's getting like hunted down, and people are impersonating him, and I mean, it looks so intense, and I love that. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking.
I mean, everything that you were saying, like, I also thought that this was just like kind of a whimsical sort of, there was obviously something to do with fame and something to do with feeling like maybe like a nobody, and then you're a somebody, and what does that do to your interpersonal relationships? And it was kind of like a cool concept, like what if you were in everybody's dreams?
Right.
But then there was that tone shift where it was like, well, I'm not really hurting anybody, and then you'd see him in dreams as like, well, you're like, because then you start, because it seems like maybe all the dreams at one point,
like, or he's just in them at some point, but then
and they're like, oh, this is kind of strange. Like something like early days internet, you would see something and be like, oh, we're all seeing this thing. That's kind of weird. And then you would talk about it and be kind of like a fun thing. But then it's like, this is
as it progresses, like
getting darker.
It's like more violent and like scary. And so, I mean, maybe if you're being driven insane, you would go out and hunt down this man who's haunting your dreams.
Or also you become famous and you have people impersonating you, wanting to be you.
Sure.
They've emotionally locked into to you in their lives.
Yeah.
There's a very personal thing of being in a dream.
Yeah.
Which I think it'll probably have a lot of social commentary going on in this movie.
I didn't even think about the social commentary of it, but it's such a neat little aspect. Yeah.
And I think Nicolas Cage seems great.
Oh my gosh.
It seems like he's having a fun time.
He almost like, yes, of course I can see that's Nicolas Cage, but like he feels like this nobody college professor. Like I really buy it. And I feel like a lot of his roles, maybe not a lot, but some roles I maybe don't necessarily buy it's him. Like it's because it's so Nicolas Cage to me. But no, I didn't have a problem with it at all. And I kind of love the fact that he's like, this is an A24 film. Obviously they film so well over there. And I'm happy he's getting to do a very like serious and kind of creepy and artsy film. And it's, I don't know. It's super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just really excited to see it. And I'm really excited that a lot of people seem to be really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I could have easily been into this movie even without the tone shift. Like even before that, I was very interested in seeing a movie about just this really fantastical thing happen, where it like he's just dealing with this thing, and it felt like at the base of it was just, what if a nobody becomes a somebody, and what does that do? But then it's all this other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, it's like my interest jumped like twice as much as it would have if I didn't have that tone shift. I think it would have even been a movie that like I know I had said I would see like certain movies this year, and then I just didn't get around to it. That might have been one of them because it wasn't like super interesting until like he had to deal with all sides of this fame, I guess, that he received. So very happy it went in that plot direction. Do you remember when it said it would release?
No.
But yeah, it's A24, so even if the strikes keep going, we can get to see it without a delay. Props to A24. But yeah, so I think we both were really, really hyped about this. Yeah.
And then our next trailer that we're going to talk about is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I think that's what it was called.
I think so. Yeah. Now you like Percy Jackson, right?
When I was a kid, I read all the Rick Riordan books of the series, Percy Jackson, Lightning Thief, all the way up to, I forget, it's been a minute. I think there's like 5 of them, maybe 6.
Okay.
So the trailer dropped for the show that'll be coming out on Disney Plus.
You know what's funny? I didn't realize it was Disney Plus until I watched the trailer. And you know, this is the state of Disney Plus at this point. I was like, oh, it's Disney Plus.
Oh my God, it's Disney Plus.
But you know, to be honest, the trailer looked good. Like I wasn't. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a Percy Jackson fan. I didn't watch the movies. I didn't read the books. So I'm going. This is like a first look. I don't know anything. I mean, I've seen a couple of reviews of the first couple of movies.
There was only 2.
Yeah.
Which the first one, I quite like the first one.
But from what I've heard, those first 2 movies don't follow the books really at all.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, just they gloss over a lot, and it's a little different.
But yeah, I think I like I even when I heard about the first movie, I like that idea of this kid has always been kind of like he's Harry Potter. He's always been destined, but like I love the fact that his like world around him has like everyone around him is maybe like protecting him.
Yes.
And like he has this best friend who's like assigned to him almost. maybe not a sign, but he's like his protector. You know? And he's not his like true friend in a way.
I guess I won't say that, but I am. That was the one like actor in this that I was like, that was cast a bit odd, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay. He seemed fine.
Percy seems very young. Which
they all seem like they're 12. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess he is young in the books, but like something about this kid felt like very young.
But isn't that kind of like cool? Because I think that gives the potential for this to play out like a Harry Potter series.
Sure.
Where he grows up and becomes this like, young adult Percy Jackson, where he's probably got muscles and I don't know. I think I'm just saying. I think this kid will grow up into like the young adult action hero. I'm just saying.
Get some muscles.
I think he'll have his glow up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to know like your thoughts about it. But I mean
the visuals look nice.
Look cool.
Yeah.
I feel like they're being somewhat pretty faithful to the story from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it in a show format and see if it's done better than the movies.
Sure. How did you? I know like the first couple of movies had like Camp Half-Blood, I think, in it.
Yeah.
How was? I mean, I guess you don't see a lot of it, but how did that look in comparison to the original movies?
I feel like. Oh God, I feel like I should read the books. I'm probably not going to, but I mean, I remember the movie. I was pretty satisfied with a good amount of the camp, but I mean, the camp is only just like a camp.
Okay, I mean, they make it seem like it's Hogwarts, I guess, in comparison.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, from what I remember, it was like. It has all these magical things about it.
Yeah.
But I think we see them, there's a magical border and all of these things but like
because I don't know. I mean it's interesting because like I don't necessarily know what they're training for and I
can give you the basic premise.
Sure. I guess I'm trying to figure out why they're like in like sword and shields, like it almost seemed like Roman guard outfits, like on a bridge. Do you remember that scene in the trailer?
No,
I don't know. It's a very quick shot, but it's like I don't know. What are they training for? Like, why are they in Roman fits or something?
That is a good question. I have to read up my knowledge, but I will say the basic premise is Percy Jackson is the son of a god. Mm-hmm. And Zeus blames him for stealing his lightning bolt.
Okay.
And so people are after him.
So he's a lightning thief.
Yes. Exactly. Okay. There you go.
So this is a show, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's why they're calling it Percy Jackson and the Olympians?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure it'll be like episode 1, The Lightning Thief.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean...
Or somewhere...
What if they title the seasons? Could they do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I've never seen someone title a season before. So.
Well, American Horror Story does it.
You're right. They do.
You're right. That was a very George Costanza. You're right.
You're right. You see,
or like Jerry Seinfeld, sort of.
I'm doing that for you. You like that?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. That's the you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't know. I don't have much more thoughts on Percy Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I don't have super high hopes. I just want to watch it and see what I think.
Mean, from what everyone I've heard talk about it is that like they'd say it looks a lot better than the movies and that it looks a lot more faithful to the books than those movies were.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
I'm sure Percy Jackson fans are excited. Percy Jackson. Is it
Percy? P-E-R.
I know, but like, was his last name Jackson?
Jackson.
Okay. It didn't sound right the last time. I was like, Percy Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we're going to take another small break here, and then we'll be back with some Marvels talk. Yeah. Welcome back. We are, we're here to talk about the Marvels.
The Marvels.
So yeah, some really weird reporting went on this past week. The first bit of news we got about the Marvels this week was that it was reported to be tied for the lowest budget ever of an MCU movie.
Yay!
Which is, I mean, honestly
a good thing.
Props, for sure, props. Which I mean, I think that's the direction Marvel needs to go. Because I mean,
look at
I was gonna say look at Blue Beetle, but yeah, you.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
yeah, we can.
Yeah, because that had $100 million budget, I think, and I mean, and to be honest,
the visuals were a little
sure, but I mean, you could. I mean, that's a full superhero movie to me.
Sure,
and I think you could put out movies like that consistently, and you wouldn't have to make like 700, 800 million at the box office. You make 200 to 300 million, and that's still a good movie to make for you guys.
But I was gonna say, look at Fast X.
Yeah.
Which was like
340 million.
And then look at The Creator.
Yeah, like 80 something million.
80 million or something like that. It's amazing. Like, why did we have to spend that much for a car movie?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I guess a lot of people will say like the budgets kind of rose because of filming in COVID times. But I don't know. I don't feel like the Marvels really filmed in COVID times. I feel like Marvel just wants to spend a ton of money. And unfortunately, that reporting of the $130 million budget was false. Basically, like I think the next day, it was reported that basically the budget was more so around $220 million, which is, kind of in line for Marvel movies these days. And yeah, I think it's funny because like, just like you and I were excited that there was a $138 million budget for that, a lot of people, I felt like the hype around the movie like instantly was like, oh, okay, it's just like every other Marvel movie, like
as soon as it went up to 200.
Right. Because like they're not doing anything different. They just keep pouring the same amount of money into every project. And a lot of them kind of suck recently, and
which I think we would be feeling differently if the movies had been better.
Sure.
Recently,
yeah,
we would just be like, "Cool, let's keep it coming," like the way it was before.
Sure.
Phases 1 through 3.
In a way, because I mean, they have been putting out way more recently than they did ever in phase 1 through 3.
Yeah.
But like even when hearing. I guess on the other end, like when hearing that it was going to be 130 million originally, I was like, wow, I'm so glad that like Guardians came out, like all of the Guardians came out before there was this like big backlash to Marvel, and like Marvel wasn't doing super hot now. Because I mean, like if that were true and like more Marvel movies started coming out where they were in that $130 million budget range, I mean, Guardians was twice that budget. I mean, I don't think Guardians 3 would have looked nearly as good as it would have if it was on half of the budget it was given, What
was the budget for?
260.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was a big one, but that obviously made a ton of money at the box office. I think it pulled like 800 million in. So yeah, I mean, I hope maybe Marvel sees that the fan reaction was good to a lower budget movie, and maybe they'll go in that direction, because I think it'll be super beneficial for them going forward.
Why do you think that is, that people are excited that it's lower as opposed to higher?
I mean,
is it because in my brain, I think when it goes up to 200, I'm like, oh, so it's going to be super special effects heavy.
I think that maybe is part of it. Yeah, I think it was like at 130 million, it would have been tied for the lowest budget with Ant-Man. And I think with Ant-Man, we got a really solid story without much special effects. I mean, sure, you had him go small, but I mean, that's not a huge special effect to pull off. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, maybe it really is about just Marvel special effects have dwindled in quality a little bit, and maybe people are just kind of over the story having to be surrounded by like the volume or just heavy CGI effects, right? And they just want real good stories.
Yeah,
it's probably it. But yeah, I guess that's our thoughts on the Marvels.
I thought you wanted to talk about the Kevin Feige sort of like production of it all.
Interesting.
Too.
I mean, yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I guess I would say that definitely, I think, bums a lot of people out. It bums me out, because I can't say the universe's direction for Marvel has gone in a good direction. This, in phase 4 and 5, and And for this movie to be a Kevin Feige production is worrying, I think. Sure, he has a lot of thoughts and planning for all three of those characters, but I don't know. I think he was making the right choices and giving creators their own voice at one point, and I think it's a shame that he's so heavily involved now, you know?
I feel like he's always been heavily involved, though.
But think
beforehand.
But here's the thing. Think about, I'm going to go back to Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first one. James Gunn, I mean, even recently came out and was like, the only thing that they ever asked me to do was include an origin for the Infinity Stones in there. I mean, and I think maybe they wanted him to include Thanos at some point. But I mean, they gave him free reign totally on that movie. And I think that was, I mean, obviously Marvel was in its prime then. You had Winter Soldier come out right after that. That was the first Russo Brothers movie.
Mm-hmm. But I still think he had an overarching, you
sure,
do your thing.
Sure, but that's the thing.
We're gonna
he had that overarching structure, but he was only requiring a movie like Guardians to do set up two things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I guess you can compare that to Secret Invasion, where he's like,
is a Kevin Feige production, correct?
Probably. I don't honestly don't.
Because there's at least one or two other things that are a Kevin Feige production.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it at least once.
But with Secret Invasion, he was telling, I think he told the director, he's like, Nick Fury has to end up back in space at the end of this movie. Rhodey has to be paralyzed to set him up for Armor Wars. And we have to have this huge Super Skrull fight at the end.
Oh,
and I'm like, you really needed all of that in this story. And he told the director of the show, I think his name's Ali Salam or something. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but or her name. But basically, Kevin was like, "Look, don't read the comics. We're not doing any of that here." And basically,
which is fair,
sure, but also kind of discouraged that nerdy talk about Secret Invasion comics on set, and was just like none of that's a part of us. I don't know. It's very interesting when you have someone I can't remember her name, the actress who plays Kamala Khan.
Aman Vellani.
Yeah. I mean, when you have someone like her who's so into the comics, so into the real stories that were put out before the MCU came about, and who Kevin Feige seems to like a lot.
But I mean, I'll say he's really hyped about having all three of those characters on screen. He was saying this will be the same feeling of seeing the Avengers in the first movie, that circle around. So I have some hope. I do like the general vibe of this movie. It feels a bit same old.
Right.
But I'm hopeful. Not too hopeful, because like I've said, I'm besides Guardians, I'm pretty getting off of I'm not gonna stop unless it gets unbearable,
right?
But I'm gonna, after Quantumania,
basically,
I was a little.
I think anything that comes out after this that isn't Deadpool 3, I am not confident in.
I'm really excited about Captain America 4 though.
I can't say I'm confident in it though.
And I am excited about what the Thunderbolts could be. But besides that, there's nothing, or maybe a little bit of Daredevil, but besides that, I'm not
Sure. I mean, I can be excited for
what
them.
What about Loki season 2?
I mean, I guess I have a little more faith in that because I know Tom Hiddleston, is that it? That's his name, right? Yeah.
Do you not know any Marvel?
I'm confirming. I'm sorry. I mean, I got it right, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he I think was an executive producer on the first season, and I think wrote a few of the episodes. So he's super heavily involved in this show. I have faith in him. So I guess I can say I have more confidence in season 2 than I would most other things, but I don't know. I wouldn't even say season 2 is a guaranteed great thing to happen because I think there was one really bad episode in the first season. which was the third episode where they like fall in love on that planet. But yeah,
there was a great, when he was talking about love, is it like a dagger though? I was like, all right, this is pretty good.
I guess. I don't know. It's
everything else I was like, well, this was inconsequential. What was this episode about?
Yeah.
What did we actually do?
They needed to fall in love. That was the point of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
And let a whole world just die.
I think if this movie does badly, I think this could, and if you're saying, you know, there's a Kevin Feige production on like before these shows and movies, I think that could stop. If this fails, I truly think that could stop.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, that's everything we wanted to talk about in the podcast. But we also have a what we watched section. So yeah, did you watch anything this past week?
Yeah, me and the person I've been seeing, we watched. We started off. It was like a kind of like a slow rainy day. We were like, oh, let's do fall movies. Put on James and the Giant Peach, which I haven't seen forever.
Oh, I want to see that so bad.
I fell asleep because I was really tired at a certain point, but I forgot.
It sounds wonderful to fall asleep to, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It yes and no, because it starts off. I was like, oh, I forgot that it was live action.
Did you like wake up in a scary part?
No.
Oh, okay.
But like I forgot that like it's. I don't know if Tim Burton directs, but he definitely produced.
Yeah, he doesn't direct it. No.
But you can definitely feel the Tim Burton-ness of it.
Yeah.
And it's great. From what I was like awake for, but it also reminded me of like how trippy it gets as soon as he starts to go into the peach.
Oh yeah,
and just like strange, like it's funny. The movie starts off. He's with his parents, and then all of a sudden they say, and a rhino came and killed his parents, and then. Without a beat, he's like with his aunts and they're like yelling at him, and you're like, oh, a rhino just came and killed his parents.
I guess we're just gonna breeze past that. Yeah.
And then a guy, an older gentleman, comes up and approaches him and says, hey, take these glowy insects drugs.
Okay. Yeah.
And don't give them to anybody. Because something magical will happen.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'll take the drugs. And then walks up some steps, spills them all. And then one gets into a peach and,
Oh, okay.
But I was like, wow,
I don't remember anything about this movie. Yeah. That's funny.
But besides that, we did watch, we saw this movie on Max that's called Cat Person or Cat People.
Okay.
Cat People. It's from like 1930 or some old movie. And it's so bad that it's good.
Okay.
But
interesting.
At least to me, because it's about this like woman from a different country who's in America, and she starts off with her like drawing this panther. She's at a zoo. She's drawing the panther, but she's like this hilarious, huge paper like book she has, and she'll draw for like a second and just rip it off and like throw it away, and she'll do it again, and like she tries to. So she meets this guy. He's like, can we go back for tea? And then she takes him to her place, and she's like, you're probably the first friend I've ever met. Just met him, by the way.
Okay.
Go up for tea. She starts, it's like, cuts to, it's pitch black in her apartment. She's just singing. And then it's pitch black. She's been humming for a while and goes, oh, I didn't realize how dark it was. Turns on this lamp. The whole room illuminates. It's hilarious.
Wow.
But she's like, my village, there's this thing about like you turn into a cat person if you kiss somebody you like. Or if you like get jealous.
Is weird. Okay.
Yeah. And so like next day he comes back and he's like, I love you, right? And it's like, bro,
you just met.
It's wild. It's a wild movie.
Okay.
She gets jealous. She marries him. They don't kiss ever because she's scared she'll turn into a cat person.
Okay. So why does he decide to marry her?
Because he loves her.
Okay. And that's some real love right there.
He has her go to a shrink because he's like, do you need help?
Sure. I would do the same. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But he's like, no, you won't turn into a cat person.
Yeah. Do they ever kiss and then she turns into a cat person?
She does turn into a cat person.
But why does she turn into a cat person?
She gets really jealous. And wants to kill the woman that he then falls in love with instead of her.
Oh, so he leaves her.
Sort of. Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, it gets interesting.
It's extremely interesting to watch because there's just so many choices.
So crazy.
Yeah. Like they go to a pet shop no. The woman that he eventually like really likes, she's like, she has this cat at their workspace, and she goes like, John Paul Jones, that's loud. And you're like, oh, that's a weird saying.
Yeah.
And then she like looks at the cat and says, John Paul, wasn't that weird? And you're like, wait,
her name. That could have easily been a saying, right?
But like
John Paul Jones.
But then is like, is the cat's name John Paul? Why would she call
the cat John, like his full name, John Paul Jones? Who names their cat a full name like that?
Don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this movie from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then besides that, I just recently watched like this new episode of the X-Files called Eve, which is actually amazing.
Okay.
And you think that like aliens are killing these two dads of these little girls through like bloodless, like with cows where they take all the blood out of the cows, and everyone's like, why are all these cows dead without blood?
Yeah.
It turns into a cloning story, and it's very interesting.
Not a vampire story.
It's not even a vampire story, which there's two little things on the neck. So you're
misdirect.
Like, it's a complete, it's so good.
Nice.
It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, probably what you all expect, some more Walking Dead.
What?
Even though,
you're watching
I finished the show last week. I updated you guys then. But I have started both The Walking Dead Dead City and Daryl Dixon. So
like concurrently?
Yeah. So basically, they both don't rely on each other. They're both in like separate times as well.
But why wouldn't you just watch one and then go to the next one? Like finish one and go to the next one.
So basically, I'll get to that. But I watched Walking Dead Dead City first, because that's the first show that came out after The Walking Dead. And I don't know if you remember, but I was telling you that like, Maggie tells Daryl like, hey, I got a mission for you. And basically Daryl goes out and I don't know, tries to find civilization outside of their hub, whatever. And I thought Maggie was going to do the same thing. But basically like 5 years have passed. She's founded this new community that's not a part of. No, it is a part of the like communities that they established in the original show, but it's not like her original hilltop community. And apparently like her son has been kidnapped, and the person who kidnapped her son is like one of Negan's old I wouldn't call him an employee obviously, but one of like Negan's old, dudes. Associates, sure, who was basically his torturer at one point. And and so he's kidnapped Maggie's kid all the way back to New York City, and Maggie's tracked him there, and Maggie's tracked down Negan, and she's like, look, I know you know this guy. You're gonna help me because I need it, and you owe me, obviously. And basically like Negan's looking after this kid at this point, and so he's like, okay, I'll do it if I'll do it if like you taking the kid, and so she's safe, and then we'll go on this journey together.
Wait, what kid?
He just found some kid in like the 5 years who like her I guess her dad had been killed by like people and not walkers, and so like when she found that out, she hasn't spoke since, and so that's the trope of this show, the kid who doesn't speak. So yeah, luckily we don't like through the first 2 episodes she's barely there, but I was under the impression that like her and Negan were already going to be like together and teamed up, and they were going to go out and like do some mission where they wanted to find like people in New York City and save people there or whatever. But no, I don't know. It's a very different take, and I don't know. It's definitely not strong. It's definitely like the vibes of the last season of The Walking Dead. It's like it's a better production budget where you can tell. It's $72 million over 6 episodes, so they put some money into this. But plot is just not there. Like Maggie has just like they had through those last 2 seasons, they had like really developed their relationship, and like by the end of the show she was like, I don't want to hate you anymore, like to Negan, right? But by the beginning of this show she is just like fully back into it. She fully hates Negan again. She like won't accept his help on a lot of the stuff that's happening, and it's just I don't know, it's kind of rough to watch. The best parts of it are the Negan and Maggie moments, but I don't know, it's just kind of a weak plot and a weak, I don't know, a lot of weak points in there, a lot of weak writing. So that's why, I started Daryl Dixon. Wanted to just kind of go to something else. And luckily, Daryl Dixon was so much better. It was so much better. Only 2 episodes are out right now. And I've only watched the first one.
I was under the impression that all of it was out.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I guess it like just started coming out like a week or 2 ago.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, that first episode was so good. He's like, they're actually like, it's set in France and they're actually filming in France. So it like all this, everything looks great. And I think the plot's really good. Like basically he just washes up on the shores of France. He just wants to get home, but he gets stuck, or he's maybe not stuck, but through him helping out people along the way, he's told about, like, he runs into this like convent of nuns, and they're like they're housing this kid, and they believe he's like the next Messiah who's going to save the world, right? And so basically Daryl finally gives in by the end and is like, look, if you can take me to where I need to go, then I will help you and this kid get to where you need to go. And so that's the plot of the show, and I'm just like, this is, I don't know, it's way more simple. It's way more believable in a sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting and it's neat, and they throw a lot of little neat things in there, and I don't know. I like it. It's I'm excited to keep watching that, but Dead City is a little rougher. So we'll see how both shows go, but I'm excited for one of them at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's everything I watched this week. And I think that's the podcast as well for this week. So we want to thank you all once again for watching and listening if you're on the listening platforms. But if you
or on YouTube.
Yeah, well, watching for YouTube.
Yeah.
But if you want to listen to us in the future, we release on Sundays now. And if you want to listen to us on any of those platforms, we are Last Week This Week Pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean, as well as YouTube. If you want to follow us on our socials, we are that same @ on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to support us one more time in the future, we would always appreciate a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or a subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you again for watching or listening. Again, check out Modern Studios if you made it this far. The links will be in the description. You can also check them out on Instagram at Modern Studios, modern.studios, I believe. And until next time.